Thank you for choosing the SNL Fan Podcast, and I'm your host, just some guy named Jay. And in this installment of the SNL Fan Podcast, we're interviewing Nyima Funk. Nyima Funk was one of the women that I listed in the 24 black comedians that should be on SNL, that are ready for SNL right now. And she stops by and has a great interview. She talks about her SNL experience, auditioning for SNL. She talks about working with Nick Cannon, working with Katt Williams, working with Oprah Winfrey. She talks about all those great things, and you could definitely check out what she has to say by listening to this interview. But before we even get to the interview, I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to the Giant Blast. The Giant Blast is a very large email blast distribution list with tens of thousands of email subscribers on there. And if you would like to advertise a product or advertise a service or even advertise any of your own YouTube videos, you should definitely check out the Giant Blast. It'll definitely get you out to a wider, broader audience and get more hits and things like that. I'll put the links in the information box below. Check that out. And let's get into this interview. All right, it's about to get funky in here. We got Nyima Funk. How you doing, Nyima Funk?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Hey, just hanging in there.
Good.
You ready to do this interview?
Let's do it. Let's talk it up.
Oh yeah. So now you've done a lot of things. You've been on Wild 'N Out with Nick Cannon. Thank God You're Here. Keegan and Peele. You're on Whose Line Is It Anyway? What else is on the resume, and what are you doing right now?
Wow. What else is on the resume? I don't know, man. I do tons of videos. That's kind of where I got my start. I got my start at Second City, and through Second City, I've hooked up with people who love making just video shorts. So that's kind of a thing that we do all the time, and I do that. Lots of little bit things here and there. Life is pretty good, and I'm a mom, so I have two kids. I have a 4-year-old, and I have a baby who's about to turn 1.
Congratulations.
I'm busy with that.
Oh yeah, and you have that the podcast. Well, actually, the video vlog where you talk about your children as well.
That's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. I got hired to do that through a network called Mom Pulse, and they're just like, hey, just make videos, and it's actually pretty easy because I realized since my daughter was born, I've always been a writer. But I would just be writing down different things that would happen with her that would make me laugh. And so when they asked me if I could do, the vlogs, I'm like, yeah, I already got tons of material. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I can see, you talking about your family, your children, like on Weekend Update, like a Weekend Update segment, on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I love doing that. I decided to, when my husband and I decided to have children, I am a stay-at-home mom, which means that I work out of the home while parenting. That doesn't at all mean that I can even try to stop being creative. It just doesn't happen that way. And the really cool thing about having kids is that it's completely opened my improv again. And looking at style's point of view, that's exactly what improv is. It's looking at a box and going, that can be a box, it can be a suitcase, it can be a rocket ship, it can be a car, it can be a blizzard. It's having that openness. I think a lot of times we lose that as we get older.
Oh, yeah. Because, when we're children, we have that imagination and all that stuff like that. And then, the kind of the real world kicks our butt and we start thinking just, okay, that's a box. That's not a rocket ship.
And I think, unfortunately, it starts it starts when we're earlier and earlier and earlier in life. We're told, pay attention, stop daydreaming. And, it's really weird. One of the things I noticed about having children is that we teach them, like, walk. Let me teach you how to walk. And then as soon as they learn how to walk, we're like, hey, sit down, don't touch that. Or it's like, come on, talk, say this. And then as soon as they start talking, it's like, okay, be quiet now.
Yeah.
And we kind of stop that imagination. And one thing that I'm realizing as an improviser is that I need that imagination. I need to be able to walk out on stage and go, this is whatever my mind takes it to. I can't block it. Just like a child does.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah.
Hold on 1 second. My daughter is calling me. Yes, darling. Yes, you may have some scissors. See, parenting is easy. I don't know what she needs them for. We'll find out.
Uh-oh.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's not that easy. I mean, it's a great time though. It definitely helps my acting.
Oh yeah. Now, so what actually inspired you to want to get into comedy and improv and things?
You know, I got my start doing musical theater. That was sort of what I did in high school and what I went to college for. I enjoyed it, but really ended up happening was I realized that there really weren't a lot of roles for African American women in the musicals that I was being cast in. You know, it was like Maid and Slave and Mammy and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then I was doing a show and was asked by a gentleman named Rico Bruce Wade, who was the producer of Second City Detroit. He came and saw the show and he said, "Hey, you should audition for Second City. Do some improv." And I didn't really know what it was at all. As a matter of fact, I went to this audition and I saw Joshua, who I would later marry, Joshua Funk, at this audition. And I knew him because he was musical theater too at the University of Michigan. And I saw him and I'm like, hey, I'm Nyima Woods. We went to school together. How do you improvise? Because I knew he had done Second City. And I'm like, hey, how do you do this? And he kind of like rolled his eyes at me and he's like, just say yes to everything and don't ask any questions. I'm like, God, that's weird. He's got a weird attitude. And then I walked in the room for the audition, and I realized he was running the audition. So I just kind of told the guy running it that I didn't know what I was doing. But I followed his directions, and I rocked it out. And what I realized was improv gave me the opportunity to write my own roles and create my own roles and not have to depend on somebody else to write characters for me. I could play whoever I wanted to play and say whatever I wanted to say through improvisation. So that's how I got my start. Just, I guess, out of the need to be me.
Oh yeah. You said, see, now you answered like 3 questions I was about to ask just in this one answer.
All right, well, that's it. Good talking to you, buddy.
No. No, it's not. I gotta, you know, but I'm glad you did though. I'm glad you did because I was going to ask more about Joshua Funk, your husband, as well.
Yeah.
Now you know what, I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
Who's funnier, you or him?
Oh, man. See, I don't know. See, I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters, so I'm more of a cut-up. Yeah. You know, like, he spends a lot of time going, Nyima, come on, don't say, you know, like, that's my humor. Mm-hmm. His humor is just all around goofy all the time, I think. Yeah. But, I don't know, man. We're still, like, we're equally matched, I guess. That's the other thing. We play off of each other very well, too. But if I really had to get down to it and, you know, really being honest, me.
Well, of course. you gotta say yourself, right?
I got to.
Yeah.
I got to.
Now, you know, yeah, because I was looking at some of Joshua's work, too, and, you know, he kind of reminds me of, like Chris Farley meets Rob Riggle, kind of.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Joshua has a lot of different talents, which I think really helps him in his improvisation. He is a director, and he also is a musician, which I think both of those things give him the ability to see the overall picture in everything that he does when he's improvising, because he can just sort of take that step back, whereas somebody like me who, you know, I'm pretty much like acting is what I do. I don't really do a lot of directing. I do writing and stuff, but the overall picture thing he can really get into, just because of his many talents.
Yeah.
It's been a good thing hooking up with him. He's a good guy. We're about to celebrate our 13th wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. You know, and you know, I said in the previous podcast, I said it would be a good idea, you know, if SNL hired you as a performer and hired your husband.
I heard you say that. I like that idea. I think that's a great idea. He's a really good writer.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really good writer, and the two of us together are great. I mean, there's no way around it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now let me ask you, who are some of your influences growing up?
Wow. I wasn't in. I don't really know if I knew I was in comedy growing up.
Well,
I definitely.
well, let me kind of twist.
Watched.
Well, not
Okay, go ahead.
to cut you off, but let me twist the question then. Once you started getting into it, who did you kind of look towards, like that kind of said, "Whoa, I like what she's doing. I like what he's doing." That's kind of how I kind of want to, not really like
Well,
copy them, but kind of,
right.
yeah,
Okay, well, I guess I can answer that on two levels. There's the level of the people who I learned from, and those people I copied and studied from, because in improv, like, there were no TV shows to watch, when I was getting into improv, like, you could watch Whose Line, but the kind of improv that we do at Second City is different. There's improv that you do that's like Whose Line and Wild and Out, which are called games, short form games, and then there's improv that we do at Second City, where you'll just get one suggestion and you'll improvise for maybe 45 minutes, scene to scene to scene, based off of that suggestion. So there's two different forms. Neither of those forms at the time were really on TV for me to watch, so I was influenced improvisationally by people like Larry Joe Cambell and Keegan Michael Key and Joshua, of course, and people who I worked with on stage at the Second City. Then, at the same time, there was this really cool show on HBO called Mr. Show.
Oh yeah.
That was on. I don't know if you've ever seen it, dude, but
I've seen it.
Was great. And that was a show that was more of a montagey, improvisational feel. Though the scenes were pre-written, it was with Bob Odenkirk.
Oh yeah, and David Cross.
What's that?
And David Cross as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That was sort of my first introduction, because we would do, we would work at Second City, and then we'd go and watch, Mr. Show after the shows, and, just, like, laugh at all these bits and stuff, and so I really, watched that and, really learned a lot about, I guess, the subtlety of improvisation. And a lot of, improv is basically just holding that mirror up to society and going, hey, watch, this is what you do. Mm-hmm. I'm doing what you do. That's why you think it's funny, because it's you. And that was something that Mr. Show did really, really well. But, to be honest, if I got to say my influences, it's just good old-fashioned people who I'm around who are good at it, Like, I think so often now with, if I can go off on a tangent, I think so often now we have our influences be these people who we don't really know, celebrities, people who we watch their lives through the TV. Mm-hmm. I'm so happy that my influences can text right now and go, hey, Keegan, what do you think of this idea? Like, that means it's an ever-evolving art form.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now speaking of, watching, other people do their thing, I know you got to get inspired from just the regular people, but...
Oh, yeah.
But has SNL been one of your influences? Or are you a fan of SNL, or maybe a casual viewer, or how are you with SNL?
I think I'm a casual viewer of SNL. It takes me a while to really get into any show, I think, and then once I do, I might immerse myself in it. I mean, of course, I've been watching SNL since forever, and I've always enjoyed it. I've always thought it was really funny. Especially, like, when I was really watching it was, like, the Eddie Murphy time, that's really what I remember. And I think over the years, of course, being a part of Second City, SNL is one of those things that we're all sort of told that we want to be on. Mm-hmm. Like, we're all told, like, oh, SNL's going to come pick you up and scoop you up, and you're going to, it's sort of like that thing that we are all supposed to be striving for in the improv community. The difficult thing is, at the same time, everybody sort of downs it. So they're like, oh, SNL sucks. Oh, I want to be on SNL. Which I always find very strange.
Yeah.
but now I forgot what the question was. What was your question?
Well,
How much does it influence me?
well, basically, you pretty much. I want to know if you were, if you were into SNL, because a lot of the people, a lot of the comedians that are on the list, they say, well, yeah, I think I'm ready for SNL, and then I've seen them, they do interviews on it with other people, and they go, I don't even watch the show. so I want,
Yeah. I mean, of course I watch it because I keep up with what's going on.
Oh wait, Nyima, you're breaking up.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better.
I was gonna say, of course, I watch it, but like, I'm also watch Walking Dead. Like, that's a great show.
Yeah.
Sorry. So if I'm really like dividing up my time of watching TV, there's other things that I'll probably watch first. But I think as an actor, there's tons of shows on, and if given the chance to audition for anything, we'll take it.
Oh yeah.
So it would be like me sitting around going, oh, I really want to be on Law and Order. I really want to be on Law and Order. I mean, I think as actors, there are shows that we would all love to be on. We're going out on auditions as they come to us. So there's active camp to be on shows kind of.
Oh, Nyima, you're breaking up. You're breaking up again.
Oh, can you hear me?
Hold on. Say it again. Hello? Oh, it's getting worse. Hold on. Hey, say hello?
Yes?
Okay, that's better.
Okay, I will move.
Okay. All right.
I pulled the car over. No, I'm kidding.
No, not yet. Had a few more. I'm not gonna hold you hostage though.
No, it's okay.
Now your name has been coming up on these people they want to see on SNL, like list us like on the Huffington Post and all these other blogs. Like I've been seeing your name for a while, like since you were on Wild 'N Out. Now have you actually been asked to audition for SNL or anything like that or?
Yeah, I did years ago. I think it was 2007.
Oh.
I auditioned for SNL, and I suppose I wasn't ready. It was right after Maya left, and
Yeah.
they didn't. I don't think they ended up hiring anybody
Yeah.
out of that batch. And then years later, when President Obama got elected, I found out through a woman who runs an improv theater. It's actually a strange story. A woman who runs an improv theater in Chicago was like, yeah, SNL is looking for you. And I told my manager, and he basically said, yeah, I've got somebody else who I'm trying to promote. Which was, sort of a weird moment for me to find that out. So I lost touch with them at that point. Which is, that's always a weird thing to have happen. But everything happens for a reason. Shortly after that, I had my daughter, and my life has gone, a different direction, and, has grown. And I would certainly love to be on Saturday Night Live. I think that's a, wonderful thing. But there's tons of things that I'm doing that I love right now.
Yeah.
I love being on Who's Line. I love being on Key and Peele. I'm kind of living the life. I love it.
Oh yeah.
So I'll do SNL. Let's do it. Let's bring it on.
Definitely. So now let me ask you, what was your audition like? How was it? I mean, can you talk about this?
I think so. I flew to New York, and it was right there on the soundstage. And Lorne Michaels was there, and a bunch of other producers, and they were, sort of sitting in the shadows. And I went out and did, I think it was like 3 minutes, and I don't know how many characters and impersonations you have to do in that amount of time. But yeah, that was pretty much all it was. I think it was mostly impersonations, if I'm not.
Okay, because that been... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's funny. It varies with the people who show up. Like, some people show up with, like, a full wardrobe of, like, costumes and wigs. And some people who are more, like, from Second City where we don't really use props and stuff. So, it's kind of, you don't really know what they're looking for. And apparently out of the bunch of people I auditioned with, they weren't looking for any of us.
Oh.
But, yeah, it's a very weird audition, I'll just say, because it's kind of like, we're SNL, you come to us, sort of thing. They don't, whereas with other auditions, they're very specific with the character acts this way, and you have to say this, and, with SNL, it's more of, you're going to them, and at least I felt like it was, I don't know, more like, just make us laugh, and we'll see, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, who knows what's going to happen with this next round? Let's bring it on.